We are in Azerbaijan for the Gashimov Memorial 2025. On the left of your screen is Ian Nepomniachtchi, one of the best players in the world, and on your right is Aydin Suleymanli, a talented youngster from Azeri chess. And this is going to be a very exciting battle. 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increment, a handshake, e4, e5, knight comes out to f3, knight c6. And now we have the Ruy Lopez, a6, bishop a4, knight f6, the main line with the closed Ruy Lopez being played. Black moving quickly, so is white, a4 played, bishop b7. We have this kind of an anti-martial system with now the rook being defended on a8, d3 played by Nepo, d6 played by Aydin as well. White's plans are generally simple: knight d2, knight f1, knight g3, but Nepo goes bishop d2. He stops the natural knight a5 and c5 expansion from black side, and now Aydin has to find another way to get counterplay. You can always go queen d7, knight d8, knight e6. That's one way to reroute your knight. He goes b4, a5 played. This pawn can be a strength as well as a weakness. Imagine a situation that the rook goes to b8 and b5 and starts attacking here. It could be a real problem. You can see Nepo seems to be well versed with these positions and ideas, while Aydin is taking his time. He goes rook b8 and Nepo quickly plays his pawn to h3. Right now, a move like bishop a8 to prepare rook b5 is met with bishop c4, and so that shouldn't really work. But can you go a bit aggressive with the move d5? Because then you are really playing in the spirit of Marshall Gambit with knight e5 pawn hanging. Would it be possible to play this way? I think Aydin is working all of this out on the board, which is why he's gone below a couple of minutes on the clock. And he does play d5. Very interesting. Let's calculate. Takes, knight takes. Can I go knight e5? Well, not really, because after takes, you have the very cool move bishop f6 and the b2 pawn is hanging. So clearly you don't want to be doing this. So then should you take the pawn on d5 or should you not take the pawn on d5 is the question. Aydin thinks about his move. And has played d5. It's time for Nepo now to put on the thinking cap. When the move began, he had 2 minutes 57 seconds. Now he's almost thought for a minute and he goes c3. A very logical move. Nepo, being a world-class player, understands the dangers that were in taking that pawn. Takes, pawn takes. And now you can take on c3. The knight will come out. But it's also possible to get your bishop out to c5 on a nice diagonal. You can also play an improving move h6. So takes, pawn takes. Wow, that's a very interesting decision by Ian. He takes into control the d4 square. Bishop comes out to c5. And now maybe queen c2. Knight a3, knight c4 is also something that you are thinking about. So queen c2 on the board. Aydin, maybe the most logical thing to do. Yes, knight e7. Because if knight e5, then bishop takes e4 is hanging. And you can't really try and win material here. Takes, queen takes, because rook takes b3 is hanging. So that's the reason why knight e7 works tactically. Such a good move that it's made Nepo start thinking as well. So while Aydin has 59 seconds, Nepo's also bleeding on time. High quality game by both these players. Maybe for Ian it's no longer clear how to continue. Maybe it's bishop c4. Maybe it's just going bishop g5, knight d2. I don't know, but the threat on taking on e4 is quite large. It's looming large there. So he goes bishop c4, a good move, because after takes here on e4, the bishop was no longer hanging on b3 square. Knight goes to g6. Very quickly played by Aydin. Not losing even more than a second there. And now Nepo has come below Aydin's time. Bishop f1 has been played by white. And queen e7. You can see Aydin moving rapidly. His moves are easier to play. Nepo goes bishop c1. Knight comes out to d2. And the knight can go to c4 square next. Aydin looks at the clock quickly. He glances and he's like, okay, I'm not having too much time on the clock here. Need to speed up. But he's unable to find a good move. His pieces are all well placed, well developed, but somehow there's no clear way to make progress. He goes h6. After a long thing, Nepo goes knight c4. Bishop comes out to c6. Excellent play. Once again, Aydin showing that when he thinks a lot, he's looked 2 to 3 moves ahead. Bishop b5 is an idea next. He plays bishop a3. The bishop comes to b5, attacking the knight on b5, on c4. And now he takes on c5. Queen takes, attacking the c4 knight. Knight comes back to e3. The d3 square is a bit soft with the bishop and the rook looking, and the knight joins into the party. The third piece looking at the d3 square. And now Ian plays rook to d1. His position quite bad. Bishop takes. Oh, he first takes the rook. Rook takes. Takes the bishop on f1. King f1. And now queen takes pawn. The a5 pawn falls. And now black is a pawn up. h4 played by Nepo. Aydin is clearly better here. Queen b5 check. And pawn to c4. He goes queen b2. Offers the trade of queens. Now notice the clock carefully. Around 10 seconds for Ian. Scoring down on the clock. Plays g3. Takes the queen. Knight takes. Knight g6 played. And rook b2. He enters in. Aydin is totally winning here. And here Nepo presses the clock, but it doesn't get pressed. And you can see that, oh, he's going to lose on time. Let's hear what happens inside the plane.
Это вот здесь.
Все. Ну надо. Ага, вот все.
Не нажал.
Нажал, я нажал, обратно пошел. Да. Нажал обратно 5 секунд.
Birden. По-моему, он не туда нажал.
Сколько стало? 5.
Very interesting decision by the arbiter to resume play. Knight e1 played by Nepo, a4, knight to d3, and now attacking the rook. Aydin is better, but with all this break that has happened, who's going to benefit out of it? Knight d7 played, defending the e5 pawn even further. And look at Nepo, they're speeding in, but white is in trouble. The black pawn is moving ahead. He gets back one of his pawns. Knight to e6. Oh, that was such a bad move. It's now equalized. There's so many ways for black to be okay. Rook b1. And now knight to d3. Very important move. So that you stop rook b2 ideas as well. Goes knight e2. And rook b3. A big mistake. Rook d2. Wow, look at the speed at which they are playing. He loses that e4 pawn. Knight c1 and now rook to c3. King comes up. Check. And Aydin making use of his final resource there, the pawn. King g2. He gives a check. Very cool move. Takes. Rook takes knight. And now rook takes pawn as well. Can take no a2 played. c5. Will he be able to hold this? Nepo seems unlikely. His c pawn comes down the board. h5. A check to the king. King c8. And the rook moves away. King b8. Pushing the rook away from the a file or the 7th rank. One of the two. Goes c7. King here. g4 loses the pawn with a check. Pawn takes pawn, king takes, rook f2, cutting off the king, king g3, and now e3 played, h5, e5. And he loses that pawn as well. Rook takes pawn and makes a queen, and Nepo resigns. What a game this was by Aydin Suleymanli. He manages to beat Ian Nepomniachtchi after the clock incident, keeping his cool and keeping his calm. Nepo losing a crucial game there, but Aydin What a amazing player he is.